Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
저희 방송은 다양한 언어를 제공합니다. 다음을 참고하세요. suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Since they live in very deep and cold water, their hearts pump only 5 times per minute. If we compare this with a human heart beating 60 times a minute or faster, we can understand that a Greenland shark's heart will wear out at a much slower rate and hence can continue beating for centuries. Please continue watching to find out more.
Greetings, fortunate viewers! I am Lucas, a vegan Caribbean spiny lobster from the fabulous Caribbean island of St. Eustatius. The animals and people in my part of the world wish you plenty of light-hearted humor and smiles every day. Welcome to our show entitled Secrets of Longevity in Animals, Part 1 of 2. Human beings have dreamt about being able to live eternally ever since they were expelled from the Garden of Eden. A fountain of youth that would reverse the aging process has been the holy grail of ancient explorers and adventurers, as well as contemporary medical researchers. In spite of their best efforts to live longer, human beings are lucky if they live to be 100. As a matter of fact, in 2019, the United Nations estimated that the average life expectancy of people around the globe was almost 73 years. Of course, one's lifespan depends on many variables, not the least of which are gender, genetics, and lifestyle choices. However, there are animals and other organisms that experience almost no aging and are capable of living well beyond a century. In this 2-part program, we will showcase some of the species that live the longest. In biology, a cell is the smallest structural and functional unit of an organism. Scientists guesstimate, for example, that the average human body is composed of some 37 trillion cells. Although most cells can divide and replace themselves before they expire, this ability is usually limited by an organism's age and damage to the chromosomes. But there are some species of animals whose age does not inhibit cellular division. They are blessed with what is called biological immortality. We lobsters are one of those species. Though still susceptible to injury and disease, as long as we are in a suitable environment with sufficient nutrition, we do not show signs of aging. We can still grow bigger, regenerate lost limbs, and our reproductive ability and metabolism are not impaired. Researchers believe that the secret to our longevity is an enzyme called telomerase. It protects the ends of chromosomes from shortening and losing some deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA, when cells divide. In most vertebrates, telomerase is deactivated after birth, which means that cell division will eventually cease when chromosomes become too short. This is why most organisms experience aging. On the contrary, we lobsters continue to express telomerase as adults, hence we do not age biologically. Why then, you may ask, is the oldest living lobster only about 140 years old? What limits our lifespan is the need to molt. We continue to grow, but our exoskeleton is rigid, so we have to molt and grow a new shell. This process requires a tremendous amount of energy. The bigger we are, the more challenging it becomes, and at a certain point, the effort of moving out of an old shell is more than we can handle. Another species that exhibits biological immortality is the naked mole rat. These hairless rodents are native to Northeast Africa, mainly Kenya, Ethiopia and Somalia, where they live underground. The relatively constant temperature of their tunnel networks may have been a factor in their evolution as the only known cold-blooded mammals on Earth. Also, their eyes are small and not very strong, so they rely mostly on facial whiskers to get their bearings. But the characteristics of naked mole rats that amaze scientists are their immunity to cancer and longevity. Researchers have discovered two mechanisms that may explain why naked mole rats do not experience malignant cell growth. Firstly, the animals have an extra gene that limits cellular reproduction when cells contact each other. Secondly, they possess a special form of hyaluronan, with a molecular mass 5 times greater than what animals who are prone to cancer have. Hyaluronan commonly serves as a cushion and lubricant in joints, skin, and other tissues. Scientists suspect that naked mole rats have this special hyaluronan to make their skin more elastic and able to pass through narrow underground spaces. Nevertheless, elevated amounts of this substance also yield the unexpected benefit of helping to suppress tumor formation. Let's pause here for a brief intermission and positive message. In the second half of the show, we'll learn about the life expectancy of naked mole rats and discuss the longevity of 2 other animals. So please stay with us here on Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our program, Secrets of Longevity in Animals, Part 1 of 2 on Supreme Master Television. Generally speaking, a mammal's life expectancy is proportional to his or her size. If mice can live for 3 years, then their slightly larger close relatives, naked mole rats, should live for 6 years at most. Surprisingly, they can live for more than 30 years. In addition, they show no signs of aging, and their chances of dying do not increase as they age. How do they manage to do that? Aside from their defenses against cancer, naked mole rats have 2 ways to keep their bodies young. Number 1. They can withstand high amounts of oxidative stress. This metabolic imbalance usually generates free radicals that can damage DNA and prompt aging. Scientists believe that since naked mole rats live in underground tunnels where oxygen is limited and food is scarce, their metabolism has evolved to cope with such stresses and repair DNA effectively. Number 2. They have high levels of chaperone proteins that stabilize the correct folding of other proteins. This is a kind of quality control process that helps prevent neurodegenerative diseases. Researchers are working to fully understand naked mole rat biology with a view to improving the quality of life for humans. As far as we know, Greenland sharks have the longest lifespan of any vertebrate species on the planet. Preferring to live in water that is around 0 degrees Celsius in temperature, these animals are at home in the depths of the North Atlantic, from Canada to Norway, and are seldom seen. Other shark species that inhabit the same vast region usually live to be 30 years old, maybe 50 years at most. But in 2016, scientists analyzed the eye lens nuclei of already deceased Greenland sharks using a radiocarbon dating technique. This portion of the eye was selected for testing as it has inert proteins that formed during the shark's prenatal stage and do not change with aging. From the testing, their lifespan is thought to be between 272 and 512 years. That would mean an average lifespan of just under 400 years. What is the secret of their longevity? One possible explanation is their extremely slow metabolic rate. Since they live in very deep and cold water, their hearts pump only 5 times per minute. If we compare this with a human heart beating 60 times a minute or faster, we can understand that a Greenland shark's heart will wear out at a much slower rate, and hence can continue beating for centuries. Aside from the fish's unhurried metabolism, there are still many unanswered questions about how they are able to live so much longer than other vertebrates. Giant tortoises are world-renowned for their long lives. Currently, the oldest known tortoise and living land animal is thought to be Jonathan, a giant seashells tortoise living on the South Atlantic island of St. Helena. He was born in 1832, making him around 188 years young. Teeny Lucy is the chairwoman of St. Helena's Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, SPCA, and helps, along with others, to take care of him. She states of the gentle giant, Jonathan is an icon here. He's a grand old gentleman who has seen it all. He landed on St. Helena in 1882 as a fully grown adult. He has seen generations of people coming and going. How do scientists explain tortoises' extraordinary longevity? Researchers at the University of Oviedo in Spain examined the genomes of 2 tortoises and compared them with the genomes of other species such as fish, mice and humans. One genome was of a Pinta tortoise who passed on in 2012 at the age of 100 and was quite famous during his lifetime. His name was Lonesome George, and he resided in the Galapagos Islands. Sadly, he was the last of his species and the only tortoise on Pinta Island. The scientists noted that compared to the mammals, the tortoises had more immune system protecting gene copies, 12 to be exact, while the mammals only had 1. These genes assist the body in neutralizing infections. In contrast to other vertebrates, the tortoises also had more copies of those genes that inhibit cancer. Finally, it was found the tortoises have gene types that relate to DNA repair that others don't have. Wasn't that a fascinating show? Please join us again next week on Friday, 1st of May, for part 2 of Secrets of Longevity in Animals, when we will learn more about incredible animals that are long-lived. Thoughtful viewers, we appreciated your company for today's program. Up next is Supreme Master Qinghai's loving concern for Africa and China, on Between Master and Disciples, right after noteworthy news. May your life be abundant in peace, love, and joy.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/AW.